deep inside the southern African mountains, an invincible European army vanished into absolute shadow. Centuries before modern warfare, an imperial king deployed, a terrifying, all-female shadow army. They moved without sound, struck without warning, and left zero survivors behind. Armed with poisoned ivory blades, they paralyzed heavy conquistador garrisons overnight. 800 heavily armed soldiers marched into the interior, seeking legendary gold mines. Not a single musket was fired before entire command camps collapsed in terror. European chronicles recorded them as ghost spirits who commanded the lethal night. Their identity was erased from textbooks, but surviving court records prove the truth. The story begins high on the granite plateaus of 16th-century southern Africa, where the mighty Monomotapa Empire controlled vast gold reserves and trade routes stretching from the Zambezi River to the Indian Ocean. The Mutapa ruled over a sprawling realm of stone fortresses, wealthy cattle herds, and bustling trade outposts. Arab and Swahili merchants traded fine silks and porcelain for Mutapa's legendary alluvial gold. For generations, the empire maintained order through fierce diplomacy, massive vassal armies, and sophisticated economic networks that kept foreign powers contained, strictly along the ocean coastline. However, by 1570, Portuguese conquistadors arrived with armored warships, matchlock muskets, and heavy iron cannons, determined to seize the inland gold mines of Manica and Chicova by brute force. Behind the imperial throne stood a secretive military order known to the court as the Nyamazana or the Ghost Regiment. These were elite female warriors, hand-selected from noble lineages across the empire. Trained from childhood in stealth, tracking, silent combat, and botanical chemistry, these women were sworn by solemn oath to protect the sacred person of the emperor and enforce imperial decrees. While conventional armies marched with drums and heavy spears, the Nyamazana operated in small, autonomous cells of 3 to 5 warriors, mastering the dense veldt and rugged mountain passes. What the Portuguese commanders didn't realize was that the emperor had no intention of meeting their musket lines in open battle. He was about to launch a covert war of absolute attrition. When Portuguese captain Francisco Barreto led 800 armored soldiers into the narrow mountain valley, he marched directly into a trap prepared months in advance. His vanguard began vanishing, one by one, without leaving a single trace. If you value uncompromised, deep-dive historical research, consider subscribing to ensure these long-form archives remain independent. Primary sources and full bibliography are cataloged in the pinned comment below. The Ghost Regiment moved through the brush like shadows. Using crushed charcoal and mineral pigments for night camouflage, they infiltrated Portuguese encampments, while sentries stood guard only paces away. Sentries were found paralyzed in their tents, struck by tiny reed darts tipped with botanical neurotoxins, extracted from native strophanthus seeds. No alarm could ever be sounded. Panic spread through the European ranks. Soldiers refused night watch. Commanders doubled camp fires, but the glowing light only made their armored officers easier targets for the shadow assassins. The Nyamazana targeted supply lines. They spiked heavy water casks with paralyzing plant extracts, leaving horse transport dead and soldiers hallucinating in the burning African heat. Portuguese journals described an invisible enemy. They wrote of shadow figures who scaled sheer stone cliffs without ropes, dropping silently onto guard posts before melting back into the darkness. Treasonous vassal chiefs who attempted to sell gold locations to the Portuguese met a swift fate. The Ghost Regiment left royal Mutapa ivory tokens carved beside executed traitors as a terrifying warning. Captain Barreto attempted a counteroffensive. He ordered heavy cannon fire into the surrounding forest, but his artillery struck empty trees while shadow warriors struck his ammunition stores from behind. A massive explosion shattered the night sky. Thousands of pounds of gunpowder detonated inside the main armory, incinerating supply wagons and blinding the expedition's artillery officers. With their weapons ruined and officers dying, the remaining Portuguese forces retreated toward the coast. Over 500 soldiers perished without ever seeing the main Monomotapa army. The victory established the Ghost Regiment as the ultimate lethal instrument of southern African sovereignty, protecting the empire's gold mines for another century of independence. Within the royal court, the Nyamazana held immense political power. Their commander served as a chief advisor to the Mwene Mutapa, evaluating political loyalty and vetting imperial governors. Their martial discipline was absolute. Warriors underwent rigorous physical conditioning, running miles across rugged granite hills, while carrying full combat gear and heavy hunting bows. In close-quarters combat, they wielded short, recurved ivory daggers and iron-tipped battle axes, engineered for fast, lethal strikes in dense bush, where long spears were clumsy. The regiment also operated an extensive intelligence network. Female operatives disguised as market traders gathered vital intelligence in coastal ports, mapping Portuguese troop movements months in advance. When rival regional warlords attempted a palace coup in 1620, the Ghost Regiment acted within hours. They breached the rebel stronghold at midnight, neutralizing the ringleaders instantly. No blood was spilled inside the royal court. The coup collapsed before the morning sun rose, demonstrating the terrifying speed and precision of imperial law enforcement. Foreign ambassadors who visited the Great Zimbabwe Stone Complex recorded the presence of solemn female royal guards, standing impassive along high stone ramparts, eyes scanning the horizon. European trade envoys wrote frantic dispatches back to Lisbon, warning that any military expedition into Mutapa territory would face invisible female warriors who could not be bribed or broken. For decades, Lisbon tried diplomatic manipulation. They sent Jesuit missionaries bearing gifts of velvet and silver, attempting to gain access to the royal court under religious pretext. But the Nyamazana intercepted foreign couriers. They deciphered coded letters passing between Portuguese agents and corrupt court officials, uncovering secret plans to partition the empire. In 1640, when a Portuguese captain attempted to seize a gold washing site by force, a cell of 5 Ghost Regiment warriors ambushed his party inside a narrow granite canyon. Using rain-slicked rock faces for elevation, they rained down poisoned arrows before descending with ivory daggers. The entire captain's guard was eliminated in under 3 minutes. News of the canyon ambush sent shockwaves through European outposts along the Zambezi. Portuguese trade posts were fortified, but merchants lived in constant dread of the Shadow Regiment. The Nyamazana's mastery of wilderness survival was legendary. They could subsist for weeks in arid bushland, extracting water from root tubers and navigating by stellar constellations. They developed a complex system of silent hand signals and bird call mimics, allowing tactical units to coordinate multi-directional ambushes in absolute pitch darkness. Enemy scouts who entered Monomotapa territory often reported feeling watched by unseen eyes, finding silent warning markers carved into baobab trees along their path. The regiment also preserved the sacred oral history of the empire, memorizing battle tactics, botanical medicine recipes, and lineage genealogies across generations of female initiates. During times of severe drought, the Ghost Regiment guarded imperial grain reserves, ensuring equitable distribution to vassal villages and preventing civil unrest. Their presence reinforced the sacred authority of the Monomotapa, demonstrating that the empire's power rested not just on physical force, but on supreme intelligence and discipline. By the late 17th century, repeated European invasion attempts had failed completely. The Monomotapa Empire remained one of the few African powers to retain total control of its gold mines. Portuguese colonial archives from Goa to Lisbon contained volumes of classified reports detailing the failure of military campaigns against what they termed the Amazon Ghost Guards. Yet as European power shifted toward maritime blockades, the trade networks of the Indian Ocean began to fracture, altering the economic foundations of southern Africa forever. Historians later documented how the tactical innovations of the Ghost Regiment influenced guerrilla warfare strategies across southern Africa for over 2 centuries. Records show that the Nyamazana's botanical neurotoxin formulas were among the most sophisticated organic chemical compounds developed in pre-colonial Africa. Archaeological excavations around stone ruins in Zimbabwe have uncovered specialized ivory daggers and iron dart tips, matching Portuguese descriptions of the regiment's weapons. Colonial historians often attempted to downplay their existence, labeling them as mythical figures to mask the humiliating military defeats suffered by European armies. Modern African scholars have restored their legacy, recognizing the Ghost Regiment as a pioneering force of military intelligence, female empowerment, and anti-colonial defense. The story of the Nyamazana stands as an undeniable testament to the strategic genius, physical mastery, and unyielding discipline of ancient African military institutions. They proved that defense of sovereignty required not just weapons, but absolute dedication, deep environmental knowledge, and tactical innovation. While stone walls may crumble into dust over centuries, the memory of their courage continues to echo through the granite hills of the Zambezi. Stories like this were never meant to be widely known, but the truth preserved in royal tradition can never be erased. The defense of the Monomotapa gold fields was a masterclass in asymmetric warfare. But this was only one chapter of Africa's lost archives. Click the video on your screen right now to explore the next untold story.